Morning, everybody. I'm up early this morning. I've been outside. The dogs got disturbed like they do a lot of times when you live out here in the country. And they had an armadillo. It was in my blueberry bushes, and it couldn't get back out. And the dogs had it treated there, and I tried to encourage him to get back out, and he just didn't want to cooperate this morning. So we got him out. And he's not going to go back in. But I was out and it was dark, and it just got me thinking about fishing. I spent a big portion of my life fishing at night, growing up on the creeks and in ponds, cattle ponds, where there was some bass. I really loved fishing, and it was a special time for me and my dad. And that kind of time we need to have more with our dads and our kids. And one of the things my dad was big about was teaching as you go, passing on lessons. And we pass on a lot of lessons in life, but do we take the time to pass on lessons about why it's important to follow God? We pass on lessons about all kinds of things. But do you have any lessons on why your child should follow God? If your kid came to you today and said, what has God done for you in your life? Why should I follow God? I know that people say I should. The preacher says it, and Facebook posts say it. But Dad, why is it important? Why is it important to follow God? Why is it important to you? What has He done in your life that makes it worth it? Why should I? Do you have any answers? And I'd encourage you to think about that. We need to have answers for our kids, and that needs to be something that we teach. And we can teach it. We can teach it on a creek bait or a pond or a lake with a fishing bait. We can sit in a turkey blind on a bass boat, and we can teach them all about hunting and fishing, and those are wonderful things. It gives you the opportunity to be outside. It gives you time to just be quiet, and those are times that we need. Are you ever able to just be quiet with your kid and just allow silence? Silence, and we're sitting out there and we're listening to the frogs, especially at night, and the katydids, and then a big old fish hits, big smallmouth or green perch hits on the creek. And we can talk to God. And I'd encourage you to be talking to God in those quiet times. But I was thinking about jitterbugging. If you haven't ever done jitterbugging on the creek, it's a lesson I'd like to share with you. Just like we should take time to share with our children why it's important to follow God. What has He done in your life? He's renewed my mind. And that's something I can share with my family. It's something I can share with you. He's actually done something for me. And we can do that while we're fishing on a creek bait at night. No moon if you want to. But I used to sit down on the creek. This is, I believe, a 3/8 jitterbug. I could be wrong. I don't think it's the 1/2 ounce. I can't see. But this is a jitterbug. I've replaced the hooks with a little bit larger, a little stronger hooks. A lot of times we'd be using this with heavier line at night, maybe a bait caster. A lot of times we're going to be casting this, and it may go into the grass on the other side of the creek, or the grass that's growing up around the pond, and we need to be able to pull that out. And we're getting a hold of some big fish at night. It's not uncommon to get a hold of a 2, 3, 4 pound smallmouth in the creek, and if you've never done that, that's a lot of fun, hearing them explode on that bank, that bait at night, or on the edge of a pond. You're bubbling that past the edge of the pond. It's going pop, 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 pop. You just let it rest for a little while. If it doesn't hit, then pop, 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 pop. A lot of times they'll hit this right here at the right near you, and you catch a lot of good fish on a bait like this. Also, we've got crazy crawlers. We used to carry our baits in our pockets. You know, they didn't have as many fancy bags at the time for walking on the creek, and we'd just stick these in our pockets with some baits in them, and we'd go fishing. And we'd talk about God, and we talk about God as we go. We don't make a big deal of, you know, we're just going to sit down and talk about God now. No, we just do it as we go. It's just a natural outflowing of who we are. And that's important for them to see. It's not just a show. It's not just a sermon that's been prepared. It's them seeing it is just in the natural day after day, that God's important to you, and that they can see it in your life as you talk about it. It's something that dads especially, I need to take time for the kids. I went to a big Christian concert and a speaker one time, and he said, you know, y'all gonna have to get better, preachers, at giving a invitation. You know, well, that's good, but dads, we need to get better at letting our kids see why God's important in our lives. I'd much rather my child see God in my life and what it's like to walk through life following God and what He's done in my life than leave it to a preacher to try to bring up some emotion and hope they get saved, if they get saved. We need to go to battle for our kids. You know, I went out tonight. I didn't know what the dogs had. I went out there looking to see what the problem was, and I was ready. And I bet you are too as a dad. You're ready to do what you need to protect your family. But are you ready to protect your family against them going to hell? Are you ready? Are you prepared as their father to tell them why God is important, why it really actually matters, why they should take time in their life to follow Him? If not, you're letting a danger in the yard, you're letting a danger in your home, and you're not doing anything about it. If someone broke in your home, would you not go fight for your family? Or would you just hope the preacher showed up that day? Men, we need to fight for our family. And we do that each day, a little bit each day, planting seeds, talking to them as we go, sitting out on the creek bait, sitting in a turkey blind, deer hunting, just being quiet and talking to them about God and why it's important in their lives. I'd encourage you to pass on lessons that you've learned in your life, whether it be jitterbugging at night on a creek bank, or most definitely why it's important in your own life to follow God, and your child will see why it's important in their life too. All right, that's what I had on my mind. I hope y'all have a good morning. Bye.